Hello, I am Fernanda Paiva, Hitchhiking Stars, and today we'll be talking a little bit about the full moon on the 1st of August 2023. So full moon happening in Aquarius. So we have the sun at 9 degrees Leo and the moon at 9 degrees Aquarius. So this is a powerful full moon, pointing at letting go of collective roles or collective ideas that don't really resonate with us anymore. So I think that's the full moon in Aquarius there. Aquarius is a sign that's connected with a group, with the collective and the collective ideals as well. And full moons are usually combinations. Is when we're ready to see something and let go of something that doesn't serve us anymore. It's a combination of a cycle. Now, as usual, I like to have a look at the Sabian symbol for this lunation, for this full moon in Aquarius, because we can get some extra insights and we can get some powerful imagery that we can work with as well and use in our rituals when we're doing a ritual for letting go, or when we're trying to use the energy of this full moon to our benefit. So 9 degrees Aquarius, the image for it is a man who had for a time become the embodiment of a popular ideal is made to realize that as a person he's not this ideal. So very thought-provoking and very much connected with what I see from, the potential sides, like shadow sides of Aquarius as well. That when we are too much inserted in Aquarian ideals, and when we have a lot of Aquarius in our charts, or the reason why the sun is considered to be in a weak position when it's in Aquarius, which is the opposite of Leo, is very much in relation to this idea of losing our sense of individuality, of feeling guilty if we're shining our lights too bright because we might trigger someone else, or feeling responsible for everybody else's well-being, let's put it that way, or the well-being of the group in that case. So I thought that was an interesting imagery for this full moon, because there is great emphasis in Leo, because the sun is in its own sign in Leo, and we also have Venus retrograde in Leo during this full moon. And we'll get there. We'll talk a little bit about this Venus retrograde as well. But I love this image from the Sabian symbol, where the man suddenly realizes that he's not an ideal, but he's human. So this symbol, or this degree, which has a connection here with this full moon and this lunation, with what we can do with this full moon to create the lives we want to live, is to reflect, is to realize and let go of anything that we're doing for peer pressure, friends that don't align with our values anymore as well, that we can let go of. And values are very, very under the spotlight here because Venus is retrograde. But anything that we're doing for a sense of obligation that doesn't truly resonate with who we are. So a sense of obligation coming from an ideal as well, an outside ideal, or also an ideal that we have set for ourselves. I mean, Aquarius is a very idealistic sign, and it tends to have very high standards about moral codes or sets of behaviors and how it should be or should not. So this full moon will be pointing out to these things, and it will be an opportunity for us to reclaim parts of ourselves that are more individual, that are more unique. That's the Leo and the emphasis of Leo by having that Venus in Leo as well. So this image sort of does talk about the need to deal with human beings as persons, rather than a hook for us to project what we think or what we idealize as well. So it is talking about the difference between a person and an archetype as well. And so we can really understand and reclaim our humanness, our specialness, and our individuality as well, which would be Leo, but also by letting go of these ideals that are over stifled. and even if it is connected with a group that we're part of or that we're trying to be part of, that doesn't allow us to be ourselves. Brené Brown has a very amazing work, and I've been so interested in her work in the last couple of months. And one thing that she says is the difference between fitting in and belonging. And I think that's very relevant to this full moon as well, because fitting in is when we're playing something or we're adapting to what is expected. We don't have a sense of being accepted for who we are. And belonging is you can be you and you have your own unique contribution to the group. And so you have a sense of belonging. So I guess this can also be applied to whatever is going on during this full moon as well for us. But we can definitely upgrade or raise our vibrations around these sort of group expectations or the group mentality and our relationship to our ideals as well. Reclaiming our humanness, reclaiming our right to be ourselves and our right to feel special just for who we are, which is what the Leo season is about. So that's a very, very powerful point of this full moon. But we also have two very tight aspects that will be happening during this full moon as well that I want to mention to you, so you can also integrate in your rituals, integrate in your reflections. And the first one is Mercury opposite Saturn. So at the time of the full moon, Mercury will be at 5 degrees Virgo and Saturn at 5 degrees Pisces. I feel that this aspect is reflective of challenges around dreams. I mean, the Saturn in Pisces telling us to take our dreams seriously, to take our spiritual practices seriously as well. And Mercury in Virgo, in opposition to that, is kind of questioning how can we apply these ideals in a material, practical way? How can we practice our spirituality and our spiritual values in a matter-of-fact, day-to-day, service-oriented? Virgo is about service. So I think that Mercury in Virgo is saying, okay, we believe in that. We have this idea about law of, attraction and all of these things. But how are you actually applying this? What are the qualities of your thoughts as well? And how you're expressing this in your life in a practical sense. So this could be part of our reflections during this full moon. And another thing with the Mercury opposite Saturn as well that comes to mind is potential blockages in communication. So Mercury and Saturn is, Saturn is a kind of a blocking. It slows down anything that touches it, and in opposition to Mercury, we might feel we lost our voice or we can't really speak up. So it's important to sit with these energies. Really, I feel during this full moon we can ask for clarity about what we need to communicate if we're having communication troubles. If we're finding it difficult to express ourselves in a group situation, for example, with the moon in Aquarius, we can try and sit and set intentions to clarify what our words could be or how more effectively we can communicate what we believe as well. So Mercury, Saturn will be very, very powerfully opposite to each other. And the second aspect that will be really, really powerful and very, very tight, pretty much exact, is Mars trine Jupiter. So we have Mars at 13 degrees Virgo and Jupiter at 13 degrees Taurus as well. Now this trine is a very exciting one. It will be part of this blueprint of the full moon, but it does point out to potential great accomplishments here in the more earthy areas of our lives. So anything to do with action taking that is attached to growth, which is what Jupiter relates to, with service, which is what Virgo reflects as well. But anything that we can apply our energies for that growth, we can apply our action. So it's a great, I would say, is a great time for beginning something just before this full moon, like whenever we want to launch something, we want to start something, it's great to do that just before the full moon, because you get great, you really get yourself out there, you really take out the spotlight. People really see you when there is a full moon coming up. And I think that Mars coming to trine Jupiter also during this full moon, just before the full moon, is a great omen for sustaining our actions, for really being able to manifest something material, something tangible in this world. So our actions can become very constructive with that Mars trine Jupiter, and it can be very generous as well. So generous action and actions that are based in our values, which is another one, because Jupiter is in Taurus, and Taurus is the sign of values. Now, this kind of leads me to another part, this configuration of this full moon that I want to mention to you as well, which is the full moon will be at 9 degrees Aquarius, so the sun is at 9 Leo. And the only aspect that they're doing, major aspects, is a is a square to that Jupiter in Taurus. So it's not a very tight one, but there is a square between the sun and the moon to Jupiter. So again, it's sort of saying that the way out of this conundrum between being yourself, expressing yourself more authentically, finding your own voice, and the Leonine side of the duality versus the how can you belong to the group, how can you participate, social responsibility, and all the Aquarian, all the collective ideals that I mentioned in the beginning as well of the video. That Jupiter being an apex is telling us that the way out is by Jupiter, by seeing the meaning, by looking at the meaning and the bigger picture of our situations, but also basing that on our values, which is what Taurus is about. And interestingly, that Jupiter in Taurus is ruled by Venus. Jupiter, Taurus is ruled by Venus, and that Venus is retrograde at 26 degrees Leo. So this month, very much, we're going to be invited to reassess our values, reassess what's valuable, how we have fun, how we show affection, how we share ourselves in relationships. And this is prominent in this full moon as well for that reason, for being the ruler of Jupiter, the apex of that opposition between the sun and the moon, and really pointing that our way out is by seeing the bigger picture and looking at our true values, and also any issues connected with self-worth that might be putting you in situations where you are following peer pressure or anything like that might be a lack of self-esteem there. And so this lunation is inviting you to let go of that, to transform that, to use this energy to your benefit, recognizing the need for independence and the need for cooperation as well. How can you cooperate and still hold your independence dear? So those questions will be there for you during this full moon. Becoming aware of what matters to us the most is one of the key here as well, one of the key points of this full moon, and the sense of values as well. So that's it for the full moon. I'm wishing you all a wonderful, beautiful, powerful, transformative full moon. And I hope that you can make the most of these energies for your growth, create the life that you want to live. And I'll be talking to you all soon. Bye-bye.